People often wonder and ask what assets should they invest in? How should they decide what is worth it and what is not? How would they know when to get in and buy or when to get out and sell at the right time?
More than anything else, which way is the cash flowing? Is it flowing in or flowing out?
If you are to take a multi-millionaire Robert Kiyosaki's words into account, he would tell you that the biggest mistake you are making here is thinking about when to get out of an asset. According to him, it is not about getting out, but about getting in on the right assets at the right time and holding them for as long as you can, because capital gains are the real deal. He told, when asked about his assets, that he would never spend or sell what he holds of silver, gold, and Bitcoin. He would instead put all of this in a charitable remainder fund along with all his real estate and pass it on, solely because all of these are valuable assets with definite capital gains in the future. He goes on to explain how these assets hold a lot of value and their demand makes strong markets, which is why GameStop had no value and why the Robinhood guys could not move the silver market even when they tried. They tried to manipulate it, but they can't because the biggest players in the world need silver.
You don't mess with Superman. And so the price of silver is suppressed intentionally. So that's why, I stopped buying at 30. It's about 30 today. There comes a time when you stop. I take a position. I probably have millions in silver in storage outside this country. Real silver, no ETFs, no paper.
This tells you that these guys from Reddit, etc., are not the end user. The end user is Apple and Tesla, and many more companies that need to work on cash flow, as well as liquid assets that need silver desperately. And that is what gives it the power. You can see these assets Superman, and everybody knows you don't mess with Superman. So, the price of silver is suppressed intentionally, but you have to know when to stop. You have to acquire a position and stop buying more at some point. Like Robert did stop buying silver at 30 and currently has millions in storage outside of this country in the form of silver. The main reason why buying gold or silver or Bitcoin is better would be that real estate is not a liquid asset. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, stocks, even REIT are liquid. You can get out when you want. You can use them whenever you need to maintain cash flow. That is what the problem is. What makes them great is their high demand, which means that they are scarce. There's a shortage of Bitcoin, a shortage of silver and gold too.
But the facts are, there's no net gain in real estate. It's just movement. People are migrating like they're escaping the Communist Republic of California and New York. So with real estate, I would study it. One big reason, gold, silver, Bitcoin are liquid. Stocks are liquid. Even REITs are liquid. That's a huge advantage.
And on the other hand, real estate is not liquid. You would think you know a piece of property, and you would end up losing and finding out that there is always something that you did not know in foresight with real estate. You don't know them until you actually get it, or have to try to sell that. That is the worst position, when you want to get out but you cannot because of something that you found out only after buying. There are people putting their money in oil, while he believes that soon the Chevron guys will come out with a carbon tax and they're going to punish anybody who's into oil. And that is why many experts, like Robert, chose to be more attracted to green deals. It's almost time again taking advantage of what you see as the pitfalls here right now, as you invest in the many assets that are available to you at the moment to choose from. Robert himself invests in the pre-IPO phase, so that when he buys a stock, he's really an outsider. This value has been gained from the financial education his dad gave him, and that is what he likes to tell all the others who look up to him for advice when it comes to wealth and holding wealth. Cash flow is king. You need to start thinking in terms of cash flow and about which way is the cash flowing with every asset you buy. For most people, it is flowing out when they should really be thinking about how to get it to flow in and give them the power of liquid money. He picks up what's not really Bitcoin watching, and it's a control. Buy the things you know have strong markets and will be beneficial in the long run.
You make a mistake with my Bitcoin, I'm out. There's a shortage of Bitcoin, there's a shortage of silver, shortage of gold. Stocks are liquid. There's the biggest advantage you have. Real estate is not liquid.
Think about their liquidity and the loopholes that you probably find with them when you think about getting out. Think about their scarcity and their demand, because only the assets with the shortage will ever give you the cash flow you need and will never go out of business or fail. But also keep a tab and decide when to get out. You have to stop at some point, like Robert did when he bought a ton of Bitcoin when it was only about $9,000. He has already made a profit when it was almost at 45, but he is not buying it anymore. The same is the case with his other assets. He was buying gold at 300, but not buying it anymore. He was buying silver at 30, but is not buying it anymore. The reason? He's not a speculator. He does not and cannot beat the market or time it. So what he does is buy silver, gold, Bitcoin, etc. and hold it forever. He will never sell. If you are buying a whole lot, you are lucky to get it at this price, and you should hold it because of its cash flow in the end, where cash is mainly flowing in. People who flip real estate are wrong, because when you have a good property, you should keep it forever and use it to create more cash flow, because there is little to no direct profit in real estate. There's merely movement of money. That is why Robert puts his millions and billions of dollars in the form of these assets into a thing called a charitable remainder trust, and will pass it into perpetuity as charity. He is never going to spend that money, but just going to use charity forever. But for most people that are flipping these assets, he says that they are essentially flipping capital gains. This is just another way to pay more and more taxes. If you ever listen to Lenin, he said two things that were crucial. He said that he wanted to beat capitalism, and if you want to kill capitalism, you have to kill the currency. And that's what Nixon did in 1971. And if you want to kill capitalism, what you need to do is tax, which is what Biden is doing right now. That's why real financial logic is in understanding the importance of cash flow. When you hold assets, automatically the cash is flowing in and none is flowing to the government. You do not have to then pay higher taxes. And for that matter, people really do not understand the power of debt. They will be telling you to get out of debt as soon as possible. But the base point is that debt is money. That is why when the dollar was taken off the gold standard and the interest rates dropped to an all-time low, the best real estate floated to the surface on the market. Robert, at that time, borrowed $300 million and bought a ton of real estate. He currently owns in excess of about 8,500 apartments alone that bring in a ton of cash for him, giving him the power to retire and never have to work again. And that is what you and everybody else should be focusing on: cash flow.
If you really would like to hold assets that hold their value, right today it's silver. So I'm about $30. If I buy a stock, I'm an outsider. So that's the value of a financial education that my rich dad gave me. That's what I teach in the game Cash Flow. I just keep it simple. I'm a Marine, keep things simple.